This is Grant.
This is Dirk from Then It Ends.
And this is the KingdomCore podcast.
I am God.
Hey guys, welcome back to the KingdomCore podcast. Got Sean here.
And Chris.
Today, we interviewed Grant and Dirk from Then It Ends. It was a real pleasure to have them on. Grant typically handles like all the PR and social media for Then It Ends, so it was awesome meeting Dirk, having him on, getting to hear just his side of what it's like being in the band. Chris, what else did we talk about?
We talked about their history, where they came from as a past unknown, if you guys have ever heard of that band, as Grant and Dirk were part of that, and how it kind of formed into Then It Ends. Probably the fact that they'll never play a show. Unless
probably
a big band comes knocking on their door.
Yes. We even talked about just their unique approach to social media and how to grow a following, being an independent band with zero manager and zero connections within the current metal scene. So I hope it's a real encouragement to anyone listening, and especially to those of you who are in bands, starting bands, want to start bands. But yeah, any of you guys listening, we just hope and pray that this is a blessing to you guys.
Absolutely.
That happened. We had a horror story when we interviewed Sean from Phineas. He just used his laptop, and Chris got all the stuff back.
Well, I didn't notice while we were recording,
we
couldn't hear ourselves coming through his thing. But as soon as I got the recording back, every single time we spoke, he could hear us in his camera. So I had to mute. Like every time we spoke, I had to mute his audio just to make it.
That took him like 5 hours to edit.
Yeah.
Man, I miss that guy. Dirk, do you miss that guy?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen him forever.
Yeah.
You guys used to hang out at shows or something?
Yeah, we did a tour. It was us. We did 2 tours together.
Was this is this Then It Ends or Past Unknown?
Yeah, Past Unknown.
Oh yeah.
They were both boys.
Right, that's right. Yeah, you guys were
Sorry, we're not allowed to say the name of the label, according to Sean.
How dare you?
We'll just bleep it out.
Bleep it out, yeah.
Yeah, we were signed up. Records. Did he just swear in that podcast?
Yeah, because every single person I've talked to just immediately is just like, we don't mention their name.
We shut down the conversation real quick.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to talk about, not about the label, but about your guys like beginning into the scene and in a Past Unknown and how it turned into Then It Ends?
Yeah, that'd be great. Was that the opening question, or was that, or was that like, hey, these are some ideas we have for the show?
I think that was the opening.
We try to keep it pretty conversational. Yeah,
we're chill, you know.
So, Dirk, do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
You go first because you started a Past Unknown. I came in later.
So I'm Grant, vocalist in Then It Ends.
And I'm Dirk, guitarist in Then It Ends.
So Dirk and I actually go way back. We go back to a Past Unknown. And for some of the viewers here, I'm sure that they may know a Past Unknown. We weren't huge by any means, but we toured a lot, met a ton of people. And that was just a great time in my life. And I think Dirk will say the same thing. But guys, this is just so crazy because I just had the idea of forming a band, right? So I played football in college and I quit football in college because I'm like, this is a waste of my time. And I'm like, you know what? I think I should start a metalcore band. And so I did. I got together with...
As if that's not more of a waste of time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, we'll make some big money if we get into the metalcore realm, you know? But I'm like...
I mean, 2010, I mean, not far off.
Yeah, it was just purely money signs in my eyes. No. But I was like, you know what? I loved the scene, I actually, in all honesty, I didn't know much about the scene. I love the music. I didn't know the scene very well. So it's not like I attended a lot of local shows or anything like that at the time when I wanted to start this band. But I started this band, and right away I met Adam, and Adam played at some local worship sets with some churches and college ministry and whatnot. And I'm like, hey, you can drum. I'm like, you're pretty good, but then I remember specifically pulling up a video of Matt Greiner. I mean, like, can you play this? And, I played, I don't even remember what song it was. And he's like, yeah, I can play like that. Yeah. No, it was something off of
This would have been Messengers.
the Messenger album. Yeah, for sure. And he's like, yeah,
probably.
I think I could do that. Yeah, he couldn't do that, right? Like, not at all. But I tell you what was actually really cool though is like he was determined to play like that, and so he progressed really rapidly and in a very quick time because he just wanted to be a really good drummer. And so he did. I don't even think he was even into metalcore. He was into like Red and like a lot of rock bands, like most of us were. Which progressed into more of the metalcore realm. But yeah, and then we met some other guys. We met Nick. Nick he wrote all of our guitar parts basically in A Past Unknown. And when we first met, like he couldn't even play a G chord very well. Like it was just like, yeah, I strum the guitar a little bit, and that's really what it was he just could strum the guitar,
just
and
open.
I'd say, but he was so determined though. Like he was super determined and just picked it up. And yeah, like we just had, for some reason, we just had goals. Or like, yeah, we're in a band now, so we're kind of a big deal. No, not at all. But we wanted to jam together, and it eventually met Eric. So Eric was our original bassist, and it was just he didn't even like metal music, but was super good at bass and decided to join the band. So he did. And then we met Trevor, and Trevor was another guitarist in the band. And so Eric was like, hey, I don't know if this is for me. We met Dirk, and Dirk's like, this is definitely for me, because he was definitely in the heavy metal scene. He's like, yeah, I would love to join. And so we did. And that started A Past Unknown. And we were just awful right away, just absolutely awful. And it was just like rock music with screaming in it. And our first show was like in a basement with like 20 people. And I was like, I think that was pretty good. Sure. And so I just
any footage of that
from there. I wish. I know. No.
You guys played in.
You've probably burned it all, right?
Oh yeah, we did an acoustic set in Hot Topic.
Oh really?
Like yeah. Oh yeah.
For real?
We tried to get. Yeah, we sure did. And so we tried to get like as many like local gigs as possible. And looking back, I was like, man, that was just trash. Like that was just awful music. But it just developed, right? It developed and it turned into something that none of us could have imagined. Like it turned into a record deal. It turned into countless tours. And there was a lot of good with that, and there was a lot of bad with that. And so there's just a lot to it, but it grew my love for the metalcore scene and, people in the scene, and there's a lot of brokenness, a lot of hurt. And, we got to see so many cool things and God do so many cool things through that band. So if I keep talking about it, I'll probably get pretty emotional about it, because how it all started, but then how it all ended, and the experiences were just really incredible, really incredible. So that's the short version of it. I could share a lot more about it.
Okay.
But you can poke into that if you want, if you have more questions on that.
Well,
if not,
I was going to say, as somebody who doesn't really have a scene to kind of be around, being up where I am, I just remember when I won my very first contest to win a CD, and you guys sent a signed copy of your second album, Vainglory.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
And as a high schooler at the time, like kind of just getting out of high school, that impacted me a lot, because you guys had like a handwritten note in it. I'm pretty sure it's still in there. I should have cracked it out of my box, but yeah, no, it meant
awesome.
a lot to me back then. And just a little bit that you and I chatted at the time, like on Facebook or something like that. And A Past Unknown was definitely a cool thing. If I could just quickly, when I discovered you guys at Creation Festival in 2010, I went to the big warehouse area where they have just like piles of CDs everywhere, like hundreds of different CDs. And I randomly found your guys' first album. And I'm like, that looks cool. I'm going to pick that up. And, it was hilarious because on the van ride home, like I was with my youth group at the time, and our pastor was driving us, and my mom gave me like $200 to buy like music with, because I was like obsessed with CDs. And so
Dang,
coming across the border, I had $200 worth of CDs. I got like, and because at the time the difference in Canadian dollars to US dollars, like it was a lot more money in the States. Like I was actually able to get more for my money at the time. And so yeah, no, it was super cool being able to find you guys that way, and then just the experience with the next album.
That's cool. Dirk,
That's really cool.
what were you like? What was your thoughts on that, Dirk?
Well, first I wanted to ask a little bit of trivia. Grant, when did you try out for that one band?
Oh yeah. there was
Wait,
yeah,
what?
so there was a band. Do I say the name, Dirk? Yeah. So back in the day, there was a band called Memphis Mayfire. I don't know if you guys have heard of
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
You tried out for Memphis
I
Mayfire?
totally did. And I actually thought the demo was actually pretty good. Was
this the audio that they uploaded to MySpace for trials?
Yeah,
I was literally listening to an interview with Matty Mullins today, and he was talking about how he got through the tryouts. Like that was just a random story.
He's obviously. They went with the right guy. they made the right decision for sure. Because I don't know. I mean, I've seen Memphis Mayfire. He's phenomenal, right? Matty Mullins is just he's a great screamer. He's a great singer. Like, yes, they went with the right guy for sure. But yeah, I did record a track. I would actually like to find that.
Yeah,
and
I think you showed it once.
Yeah,
dude, that'd be awesome.
Evaluate it now.
Yeah, do like a cover of The Sinner.
Yeah, I didn't write it like that. You know, like no, it was one off their older stuff, right? Like it was like pre that EP that came out before.
Sleepwalking.
Was that the 5-song EP that was more metalcore?
No, Sleepwalking was their first LP.
I think it was before that, is what it sounded like. Because Sleepwalking had Matty on it, I think.
Right. So it was before that.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, there was a huge change in their style, right? So it was before the change. So before they went more like metalcore, they had like a southern
Okay, so
style.
that was Sleepwalking. It was kind of more southern, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's definitely the demo style. Yep. So,
yeah.
That's fun.
Wasn't that 2009?
So that was before A Past Unknown?
This is before I came in.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is a few years before that. But I want to hear, even though I'm not like a country fan in any ways, but like a Southern Grant Memphis Mayfire cover. Like,
it didn't sound. Here's the thing: is like my vocals did not. I don't think they fit that style like at all, right? And so I think Matty did it really well.
Yeah.
And so I really couldn't say y'all in a chorus, you know. So no, that didn't pan out. But God had different plans. Totally had different plans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think the band was around maybe a year before I came in. That's right, Grant.
It was in formation. Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, because you guys were already doing shows. I remember at our college ministry, they promoted the one show you guys did, not in the basement. It was the one at Spicoli's. I didn't go, but I remember that you guys promoting it. It's like, huh, okay. And then, so what happened was we were all connected to the same college ministry at University of Northern Iowa. And that fall, I just got like connected with the ministry. And later I tried out for one of the worship bands. And then I was placed on the same band as Nick, who was leading that band. And so I played bass for Past Unknown. Originally, I started on drums and then piano and then guitar.
Oh, wow.
And then, but what always happens is like, once someone gets word, oh, they know how to play bass, they always keep you on bass because you never find enough bass players for worship music. So I started on guitar in the worship band and then eventually bass. I think I was wearing a For Today shirt.
Chris knows what that's like.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I was wearing a For Today shirt, which,
Nice.
kind of
represent.
But it was the one with Will Smith on it, which was like, it's just kind of funny for the time.
For Today had some wild shirts back then.
Oh, it was, Fresh Prince, Funky Fresh, For Today. And I think Eric sounds like, hey, I know that band. Wonder if he would want to join. I think that was kind of the connection. And then I knew Nick. And through that, we really hit it off. So that was like in the first year of me even being a Christian. I moved up and then got connected with really solid community who were great as far as like a band, but just even as friends and understanding the Lord and walking with Him. So that it was a huge shift. That was just a huge blessing for me, and I think for all these guys, because that first tour, it was that spring break. I was the light guy. Eric was still on bass, and I was just kind of like there hanging out with everyone, having a good time, and
the roadie, right?
And
merch guy.
Kids coming up. Hey, are you in the band? Yeah, I do the lights.
Same thing.
Yes.
Please leave a tip.
Yeah.
But that first tour we did when I actually played bass, it was like 6 weeks, and all of us in a van the whole time, like just growing in Jesus together and like reading our Bibles. Well, for me, like really reading my Bible like consistently and asking questions and learning and praying out loud for the first time, like just, really outlandish things. And being able to do ministry together. It was just like not just knowledge, it was like heart change and practice, like all of it together. It was really sweet. So that was 3 years of my life, gave to it, and don't regret it at all. We got to meet so many cool people, just encourage people, pray for people, see different places, do things never would have thought I'd be able to do. Unfortunately, we never did the Europe tour. We never left North America, but we went up to Canada, went through Canada twice, one full tour, and then I think we went to Ontario like one other time. But man, just got to do a lot of stuff, and it was so sweet. As young 20-somethings, just figuring out life, figuring out like, how does faith integrate with that in a really harmonious way. So, really specifically launched, I think me, but I think all of us into where we are now. So, 4 of the 5 of us are still in ministry, and I think all 4 of us are pastors.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think Trevor's a pastor. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, following in the For Today footsteps of Matty Montgomery.
Right.
Just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
I love hearing.
Do you guys?
You got a story about that?
No. Never mind.
Okay. I was gonna
for next time.
Dirk digresses.
I was just gonna say that
I forget that people are gonna watch this, and so I just need to. I can't just crack all the jokes I want to crack.
Oh, nobody watches this. Don't worry. We have 0 fans.
That's not true.
It's just cool to hear how you guys, like back then, it was very much like a ministry focus in the band atmosphere and everything, and then even seeing where you guys now, like continuing that, like your purpose for doing it is, to give hope to people and reach people with the gospel and stuff. So it's so awesome that you guys were doing that early on, but that you've continued to grow as Christians, and then you continue doing that in a slightly different capacity. But it's so encouraging to see you guys still doing that.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
So like we were truly intended to be a ministry band, right? I think every band at that point was popping up as a Christian metalcore band, and so we were, riding that wave, I guess you could say, and everyone was, getting into Christian metalcore. But it can be disheartening at times when you hear these bands that totally walk away from the faith, because all the band ever did for me was solidify Jesus. It was crazy. Like the stories that we have, and just the way we saw God work through my years of touring was just like, it was just undeniable for me, you know. But then you get total opposite stories in the scene of like, this happened, and now I'm an atheist, you know. And I'm like, this happened, and this happened, and God is undeniable, you know. And so it's
Amen.
it's fascinating. So we got to experience so much. I could tell you story after story after story of lives changed, and even our own lives. Like, we lived together in a van basically and toured the country constantly, and we read different books. Like, we challenged each other, you know, with everything that we were reading, or just our thoughts. Like, we asked a lot of questions, and you could almost say, Dirk, correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of liken it to like a mini seminary. Like, we were just seriously, we went through so much, and we challenged each other on each other's thinking and why we thought the way that we did. And by the end of it, I mean, we still speak, you know, all the time. And like, it was just a brotherhood that formed.
Yeah. And I think
awesome.
In a lot of ways it was very similar, I think, to early church discipleship, you know. In a sense, we were like circuit riders in a sense. So like, we were in different town, different state, different day. So we didn't have like a pastor, like an elder of a church in the van with us, but it was conversational, of expressing, you know, what we're seeing, you know, in scripture, and like just having that really form and shape us. It was so crucial, so sweet to have that experience together. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you guys, like, so you guys broke up, what, 2013, 2014?
13, yep.
November 20.
Okay, so I believe then it ends formed in what, 2018, 2019?
No, in fact, you want to go way back. So I think
you released demos in 2013, didn't you? Like a couple years, like.
So in fact, songs. Actually, if you listen to Despised like demo version, like that's from 2013. And like, yeah, which
I had
is
the initial files, like the downloads you gave away, or.
So I think like touring was really hard, guys. Like, it was really tough. And Nick and I were both married. My wife, she toured with us, but Nick's wife did not. And that is tough on any marriage. And so we got to a point where we were being pursued by some higher individuals in the industry, which was really cool. From our last tour, we were going to be recording a new single and sending that off. And that very last tour, like we just discussed in the van, I just remember it as clear as day, that it was just really, really hard. And you know, Nick was like, dude, it's hard to leave my wife. And I'm like, I get it. And so he was like, I think this is going to be my last tour. And we're just like, jeepers, man. Like, you write all the music, you know, like, what are we going to do? Are we going to replace him, etc.? But as you guys know, like, when you get just even a different writer in there, it changes everything. You know, like, just even your style, you know, it changes. A new vocalist changes everything. You know, it's different bands. And so we collectively decided that tour that we were going to be done. And so when we quit, I think the internet world was like, why are you guys quitting? You guys are just like starting, you know? And we're like, oh, it just was, no one sees the behind the scenes of the toll that it takes.
Right.
But with that though, like, I was just like, I still got to write music. Like, I still have a desire to do this. And that's kind of how Then It Ends came to be. Was I'm like, I still love the scene, right? And so I wrote a demo, had no idea what was going to happen with it, and just kind of put it out there for everyone to hear. But then I got a job, and basically I really kind of quit the scene cold turkey. Like, I just
Then it ends.
Literally, then it ends. you know, and that's what it was. Like it just ended. And I can honestly, I did go to some shows. Like when I was living in Chicago, got a job in Chicago as a pastor, and was there for quite a while before moving to Minnesota. But yeah, definitely went to some shows, and kept up with it a little bit, but not really. Like not really. And so, yeah, that was kind of my story after the band. But then everything formulated, obviously, just recently, in the last couple of years, to get after it again.
And Dirk, what was your time like in between A Past Unknown and Then It Ends?
Yeah, so pretty much there was an overlap. So in the last few months of us doing tours as A Past Unknown, there was a church plant that started up in Cedar Falls where I still lived. And so I got connected there, was helping out, getting to know just more of what the church was about, and it was pretty cool. So in between tours, I would just kind of be there, working my jobs, making money, and being a part of the local church. And then, yeah, once the band finished, it's like, well, I know where I'm going to be now. Like, just do more local church stuff. And so, just dug in deep there. Within, a couple months, I started leading worship for the first time, and have been doing it ever since. So, been doing all the other instrumentation, but then, actually singing with it was new development. Now it's been 9 years of that, which is like crazy. Love it. Yeah. I had dropped out of college for A Past Unknown, so sorting through like what it would look like to finish my undergrad. So I ended up doing online school at Moody Bible Institute in Chicago. Just got undergrad in biblical studies, and then at the same time I was doing local church ministry. So starting up a college ministry, doing group discipleship, worship stuff, church planting life. There's like tons of different things you're always doing. And so did that for a long time. A couple years in, my now wife, moved up here, and started dating pretty fast. And within a year, we were engaged. Married a year after that. And then now we have 2 kids. We have a 3-year-old girl, Asha, and 1-year-old boy named Judah. Well, so we had Asha. She was a year old, and then COVID. So,
wow, yeah.
So when COVID hit, it was like, well, okay, well, what do we do? So just trying to figure out like how do you be a part of church leadership during a pandemic? It's like pretty much any position of authority. You're like, I don't envy your position, at least for sure in government, and then even in the church, it was just a trying time. I think just for take whatever issue amongst the handful, and I just had to work through all that stuff. But I think it was April, Grant, when you first talked to me about Then It Ends. Maybe so. May,
like a month into it.
Yeah.
So before even COVID began, guys, I still had the itch, right, to write music, and then so here's what I was gonna do. So the plan was just to release what I had been writing in my head, but then COVID hit, and I'm like, yes, let's start a band, right? And so like this is such a great idea right now. It was
either that or a podcast, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's no bands touring right now. We got zero competition.
Yeah, totally. It's just like, this is the right time. And so I actually prayed about it. I'm just like, this seems pretty dumb. But in my head, the battle of like, well, you're pretty irrelevant, right? You're like, how many years out of the scene now? And I'm like, there's no need for you to get back in the scene. Like, why would you? And I said I had been following it loosely. And I think one of the things that was just super discouraging, and kind of the whole reason why we set out to do this, was that, you just see all the bands just, I'm not going to name any names by any means, but just walking away from the faith. And I didn't get it. I didn't get it. We've got many friends, many, Dirk and I have many friends that have as well. And it just saddened. And I'm going to get emotional talking about it. It saddens me. Like, it really saddens me to see so many people that are finding identity in so many worthless things. And yeah, it breaks my heart. Like, it really does. And especially in a scene that I love so near and dear. I mean, we've got almost our whole college group was in that scene, right? College group friends. We've got so many that were in the scene. And so I'm like, maybe I should do this. Right. And so that was the tug. I was like, oh, you're irrelevant. No one cares. Like, you're old. Don't do it. Next one's like, but who's doing it? I don't know. Like, who's speaking life into the scene? I don't know. And so the idea then was to reach out to Dirk. Reached out to Dirk. Reached out to a couple others even before Flick and Tyler. And I said, hey, here's the idea. What do you think? And yeah, this kind of dead ends there. And then I reached out to Flick. I said, hey, what do you think about doing this? And so just so you guys know, like, yeah, it wasn't like, hey, we're just going to go tour and we're just going to do what we did, 9 years ago, and it's going to be super hard and that's what we're going to do. Like, no, we didn't do that at all. I said, hey, we just have the platform right now with everything, Spotify, the internet, to kind of be an online band, and see where it goes, see what happens from there. And I tell you what, like, it's been kind of crazy over the last 2 years, a year and a half now, but 2 years in October, see, like, man, God's been using it in a crazy cool way. Mm-hmm. And the messages we get on social media, I kind of portray myself as this, goofball at times with all the reels I do and whatnot, all the meme reels.
You're like a metal comedian, dude.
Yeah,
it's true.
And there's some reels you're like, oh, this will be really good, totally flops, and then others you're just like, this is dumb, it totally takes off, right?
Boom,
yeah, you're just like,
views.
What? Like, I don't get this. And so, anyway, at the same time, I would say I love having fun. 90% of me is having fun, but then that 10%, I'll give it more than that. 15% is like, I'm serious, and I want to see lives change. Mm-hmm. And with everything going on in our world and our culture, like, like, truth needs to be spoken, and we believe that is Jesus. And I've personally, in my own life, have evaluated so much philosophy, and the only thing that makes sense in my life is Jesus, and that's the only sense I can make to anything. Like, any purpose or anything is Christ. Like, that's it. And so it's like, well, I want to do that in a loving way. I want to show people truth, but do it out of love. And I think one of the best ways that I can do that is through music. Mm-hmm. And so that's what's been happening. And Dirk and Tyler and Flick, I wrote up this whole 3-page document of like, hey, here's why we should do it, then it ends. And every single one of them was like, sweet, like, let's do it.
Individually, you didn't reach out to all of us in one group text, like, this is what we're doing. I think to recruit us.
In fact, I did that. And what was really neat though is
no peer pressure.
No, exactly. It was all individual. It was all, hey, think about this, pray about this. And what was really neat though is both Flick and Dirk, I said, I don't want to go any more than 4. Like, I think four is enough. I'm like, who do we reach out to? And both of them, independently of each other, like, reach out to Tyler. And so I did. And he's like, you know what? Me and my wife were praying 3 days ago that God would bring an opportunity to speak into the lives of people outside of what we're doing now. And
that's awesome.
Just like, whoa.
That's amazing.
It's pretty sweet. So then it ends formed, and it was kind of a guessing game, guys. Like, I was just like, okay, how's this going to go? We don't know. Are we irrelevant? Maybe so. And so we said that, hey, we'll keep going until we are irrelevant, until people forget about us, and then that'll be that. But as of right now,
I think it's just on the up for you guys right now.
And
you guys are as relevant as you have been.
Yeah, I mean, even the latest song is doing so much better than any of our previous stuff. So that's kind of crazy. And I can only attribute it to the Lord. That's it. I can't take any credit for it. None of us can. It's just like God is doing crazy cool things through this ministry. And I will say it. Yes, it is a ministry. It's not just Christian in a band, right? It's a ministry. This is what we stand for. This is what we do. And in a way that's going to impact lives and change their lives forever. So yeah, it's been neat. Very neat.
All right, I think that's all we got. That was amazing. No, just kidding.
See ya.
Wow, yeah, that is so cool to hear. Hey everyone, this is Chris. I just wanted to take a brief moment and let you guys know about my new project that just released, the debut EP from Refiner. It's called Firewalker. It's a 5-track EP, and I'm so stoked for you guys to hear it. It's been a long time in the making. I want to give a special shout out to Ed from A Secret Ending for doing all the lyric videos and the logo for the project. Special shout out to my wife for being the model on the cover. This is just the beginning. I'm so excited for this release. There's some awesome stuff in the works that I cannot wait to talk to you guys about soon. But until then, you can go and stream or purchase the EP on your favorite platform of your choice. It's also available on Bandcamp, and the lyric videos are available here on the YouTube channel if you're watching the video version of this podcast, youtube.com/fortherock. Take a quick listen. Thank you so much.
The clock ticks, and the bell raps. More sense of reality, and a lifeline, pull me from the void. I will follow where you lead. Never let me go.
When you talk about Restored, what was it like creating an album, never having been in the same room together while writing it?
So, this is the fun part. Restored was written like 7 years ago. Okay.
Oh wow, was this what kind of a past unknown was?
Or
was this?
This was literally me sitting in a room with a guitar and writing some songs. And so that's why I even reached out to the guys and I said, hey, I think I have a full album ready to go if we want to do this. And so that was even another thing, because here's just the reality of life, guys, is like we all have jobs, we all have families, we all have just real life things outside of the band, right? Like people, we've gotten some messages. Do you guys do this full time? No. In fact, if we did do this full time, we'd have to live off of $100 a month, you know? And so it's like, nope, cannot do that. And so I said, hey, why don't you guys check out these songs? And if you don't like them, then scrap it. But it was all unanimously like, yeah, let's put this thing out. And so we did. And then what, last year, right? The Solace EP. So here's kind of the writing process is what it has been. Doesn't mean that it will be this way in the future, but I'm kind of like, hey, I'm gonna write, guys, and whatever input you guys have, like, let me know, you know, like, here's what I'm thinking in my head, send out some songs. And I don't know if you guys can tell this, but I'm sure you can. The drumming on Solace is just phenomenal because that's all Flick's ideas, right? On Restored, it's very straightforward. Flick because
is insane.
He really is. Like, you guys should, if you look up his old band, if you look up Dividing the Masses, like, just do it online on YouTube. You'll see some old videos, and you'll just see him. And he's also like just shredded, right? He's just jacked, right? So he's just like, and
redheaded dude.
So he's just a robot behind the kit, honestly.
And he is.
And Flick is like the most relevant drummer name, I feel like. So can he do those? Can he do those tricks where you like, you know, you flick the drumsticks and you spin it around
for sure.
Typical metalcore drummer.
For sure. He's super good. So he did, you know, so I was like, hey, here's the idea for the drum parts with Restored. And he's like, I like that, et cetera. So he kind of just went with it. Whereas like Solace is all like his doing, right? And then just even Anxiety, the latest single, like that's all him and his ideas. Because I'm like, yeah, I know drums to an extent, but like his mind is just incredible. And it's like, no, I gotta utilize him. And so then Dirk and Tyler, you know, I was kind of joking about this with Sean not too long ago. Like they really like to stay in the background, you know, like, or not Dirk and Tyler, but Tyler and Flick. Dirk wouldn't be on this podcast if that was him, but they really just like to like be like, oh, we're just okay, kind of in the background, and don't want to be too up front and too out there. So they're just like, hey, you know, any input? This is more Tyler. I would love to give input, you know, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of how the songwriting process goes. Is throw ideas out there, and you know, Dirk is like, nope, this is really dumb, or nope, that's really good. Tyler's like, oh, this is dumb, or no, it's really good, and etc. And we never know. In all honesty, we never know exactly how it's going to turn out. You know, it's like, hey, here's the idea, and then lay down vocals, do it, and it comes back, or just like, yeah, I think I like this. You know, or yeah, I really like this. But I really do try to write songs that I would listen to, you know, that I would really like. And so that's what I try. I try to do it with every song of like, would I listen to this if this wasn't me? You know?
When you're doing that, are you demoing it out fully, like with drum parts, guitars, like you're doing the whole thing kind of initially, like with Restored, and your kind of whole writing process with that?
Yeah, Put the ideas down, and then Flick will sometimes send something back and be like, nope, don't like this, and he totally changes it up, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, not how I envisioned it going in my head, but I like that better. You know, and so that's how it's all come to be. And it's fun. It's fun to write music, but then more importantly, it's awesome to be writing and then, you know, read lyrics that you wrote and be like, this impacts me even, you know. It's like, man. So I try to write songs too that just like speak to me, and so not just, you know, thinking about other people, but yeah, I do want to be impacted by the lyrics I write as well. So, and then Dirk, either, you know, he likes to shoot down ideas or give the thumbs up, and you know. So Dirk, anything to add on that, man?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much, let's say, the system. That's usually the flow. I think if, you know, any of us are in more of a time, maybe inspiration, and a mixture of inspiration and time to, you know, rough track anything, like, I think that's always going to be open and received. I think we're always in a good spot of just being honest with how we feel about stuff, and not afraid to, you know, say what we're thinking. But yeah, it's crazy the way that we can do this now versus 2010, 2013 even. The ability.
Yeah.
I mean, so I recently switched all my gear over from, you know, I had a full pedal board, orange, dual dark head and everything. I switched over to Helix. It's just crazy, like the quality of sound you can get out of something. You just update the firmware all the time, and get patches from online from other guitarists and stuff. Like, what? Like for church, I bought the patch from Bethel's main electric guy. I'm like, whoa, for $20? Are you kidding me? It just sounds so good, and you know, and we can send files back and forth so fast and good quality. It makes collaboration pretty sweet. And then, I mean, even today, like with streaming, like Spotify and Apple Music, like that wasn't around really, or as prominent. Spotify was around. It wasn't as prominent.
No, it was just, I remember getting like access to Spotify from a good buddy. He's like, dude, I can get you access to Spotify. I was like, yes, like sign me up. Let's do that. You know, and so now, yeah, as you said, Chris, like the name of the game has totally changed with how things are done.
Yeah.
And just even us being able to write, like I literally do everything, record everything in my basement, and nobody hears a thing except maybe when I'm screaming. But, you know, they might hear that in the basement. But hopefully not my neighbors. What is going on over there? You know, but
I've had that experience in my old place when I was recording some music. I was in it was in a duplex, and my bedroom I was in the master bedroom, and across the wall was the neighbor's master bedroom. I always tried to make sure they were gone, but I'd be in there like in the summer, I'd have my window wide open and I'd be just screaming, recording vocals. And I remember going up to them when I finished my CD. I was like, thank you for putting up with this. I don't know if you'll like this, but here you go.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's so cool, like this day and age where we can actually do that. Like the only times, guys, that we have, and this brings hope for like those who actually want to start a band and do this, all online. Like we get together to do music videos and photo shoots, and like we don't even practice together. Like that's the thing. Like we could, and this is, I'm just gonna brag on everybody else here for a sec. Like they can pick it all up just like that. I mean, so, and just Flick, like our music videos, that was his first time like legitimately playing those songs, like and he just all up here, right? All up here. Wow. He's like, yeah, I have all the fills in my head. I know everything. It's like he's incredible with it, right? And so that's the beauty of it. But yeah, as Dirk said, though, is like in 2010, man, like we're in a studio for 5 weeks, and it was just, that's crazy. Like you're taking a ton of time to do that, and I don't think we could have done what we do today back then, like at all, and so that's just the beauty of it. So then the next question that typically comes is like, when are you guys going to do a show? Like, you're actually going to get together and do this? And I think that's what people are actually waiting on. And so
this is the moment they've been waiting for, right?
Like, I'll just be honest. So I kind of joke about this. Now. I kind of joke about this online. But I'm like, if a day to remember comes to my front door and says, hey, like, we'll take us on tour, or we'll take you on tour. We would really seriously consider that. We'd be like,
a day to remember is going to ask you to take them on tour.
Yeah. Can we open up for Then It Ends? Like Jeremy comes, like, I'm a huge fan of you guys. So
everyone,
if they came, it's
before we start.
Yeah. So I say that jokingly, but almost like serious at the same time, where it's like, in order for us to even consider touring, I mean, that's just the reality, right? Like, that's the reality of like we're not in our early 30s trying to tour full time. Like that's
early 20s. We are in our.
Well, we were. I said we're not doing. Right. I said in our early 20s, we were. Yes. Like we were trying to tour full time. In our early 30s, we're not trying to do that. Like we're I mean, like I said, we have families, and that's just the reality. However, discussions have definitely been thrown out there of doing a show down the road. And so if we did do it, we would have to make it a big deal. So
in 10 more years, if you guys hang on that long, your kids will be like teenagers, and they can just fully appreciate seeing their dads rocking out to some 2010s metalcore.
That's such a valid.
You guys can throw your back out for the rest of the year. That one show,
dude. I'm already. Yeah, it's like it would take me so long to recoup, and I would just honestly, like, I'm like, it would take me months of preparation to even do a show vocally. Like I'm nowhere near the capacity to do that.
Yeah,
at all.
It would have to be the right kind of deal. Like, not we're just gonna play in a VFW hall. Like, it, right. It would have to be like worth the investment of like practicing and preparation. Like, and it wouldn't just be us like, all right, let's just plug in and play. Like, do it really well.
Do it really well.
Yeah.
So obviously we've talked about this a little bit, right? We've talked about it of what the ideas would be, and we would try to do it really, really well and make it a big event if we did do that. Mm-hmm. So no spoilers.
I wanted to touch on something you said earlier. You were saying how like you brought up Spotify and streaming services, Apple Music. I know that's been huge for you guys in Then It Ends. I checked this morning. You guys have 22,000 monthly listeners. To some people, that might not sound like a lot. But if you got 22,000 people in a room or like in a stadium, and you realize that these people are listening to you every month, that's pretty crazy. And you guys are independent, never played a show, you guys don't have a manager. There's bands on labels with 5,000, 10,000. Not that that's bad,
Hundreds.
or 20,000 is good, but you guys have way more monthly listeners than a lot of these bands that are signed. And so I think the way that the scene has evolved in terms of social media, the importance of social media and the importance of streaming is just insane. Would you be able to like touch on that and how that has really helped you guys be able to reach an audience that maybe other bands starting out haven't been, and then how you could encourage bands that are starting out to utilize those tools?
Yeah, so this has been the really crazy part. So I do want to say, first off, I do think the Lord is behind it all. Like I fully do. Like he's the one who's opening up doors and closing doors, and I think he does that with everything, like, regardless of what it is. You know, he's either going to allow you to do this or he's not. And so, like he's allowed us to have 22,000 monthly listeners. You know, I was looking since the inception of Then It Ends from just 2 years ago. I was looking at the full-time numbers, and we've had on Spotify, you know, close to 100,000 people listen to Then It Ends. You know, and you're just like, that's a lot of people. Like that's a lot of people, and a lot of people that have hopefully heard through our music the gospel. You know, and so the beauty of social media today, though, is you put yourself out there, and I don't even know what inspired me to do like a dumb meme videos. But I just did like one of the first ones that I did, like just kind of took off, right? And I'm just like, maybe I should do more of this. And then a guy that I know who's in the industry, he's like, do these, but you have to incorporate Then It Ends stuff into your stuff. Like he's like, that'll be huge traction for you guys, etc. And so yeah, there's definitely a marketing piece to that, right? Where it's like you're putting out stupid content, but you know, people, they respond to it. And so that's one way. But then also like TikTok's been huge for us, like huge, guys. So like I think in and this is just for any band that is actually listening, like utilize TikTok as much as you can, because TikTok's a platform where you can just constantly post the same stuff and get a new audience every time you post. Instagram's not that way. And so I'll post, we'll definitely post on Instagram, but we won't post the same content. But on TikTok, you can constantly post the same breakdown. You can post the same stuff, and it'll get a different reaction every time. And so that has been huge. The correlation from TikTok to Spotify has been massive. And then the algorithms take note. So like, and just so you guys know, like November, I believe November of this last year, we were roughly around 9,000 to 10,000 Spotify listeners. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So think about this. And then I really started taking TikTok seriously and doing all these videos, and it's just gone like this since. Right. And now it's like super organic, right? So like the algorithms have taken place and just pushed us out there to more and more and more people because people are enjoying the content. And so, like I said, I have no control over that. I can control like the videos and everything like that, but you know, I can't control then the people saving it, the people sharing it, like that stuff, which all the algorithms take note of, and then they push us out. And then, you know, what's really cool, like with the latest release, then, you know, we get it on a Spotify editorial playlist, which was really sweet. And you're like, so obviously we're doing something right with the marketing, you know, thing, to where it just keeps getting pushed out more and more. So I would say to any band, guys, you don't have to do what we do. You don't have to do dumb meme videos or anything like that. But you know, you can utilize these tools to push yourself out there. But then also, and here's what I will add to, is just why are you doing it, right? Like why are you actually in a band? Why what is the point? You know, is it to glorify yourself, or is it to glorify God? And like any day, guys, if God would be like, you know, Then It Ends is done, then it ends, right, Chris? If it happens, you know, I was just like, okay, it's done, you know, and going on from there. And so just question the motives of why am I doing what I'm doing. And still, like, that's what it is for me too. Like I got a question all the time. Like, okay, is my heart right in this? Am I doing this? Am I posting this for the right reasons? Like what are you trying to do with this? And guys, for sure, just like with anything, because we're fallen human beings, like ego can definitely get involved, and it happens all the time, right? Even though music is such a subjective thing, yet there's times where I'm just like, why is this band here, but then it ends isn't, and whatnot. And I'm just like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Remember why you're doing this. It's like, yes, absolutely. Why am I doing this? So we'll continue to make music until people don't want us around anymore. Dirk? Sorry.
Yeah, and I would say, like, I think of most importance, like, what your greatest investment should be into the music, into the art, less of, the medium. So, like, what kind of video content are you putting out? Like, that is important, and I think it does play a role in that. But if you're just imbalancing it by just focusing on, like, how viral can it get, like, you can really cheapen the art, and the gifts that you've been given to create something really sweet for people who are hurting and need it. And so I think putting the best quality into the music first, driven by the Lord, and seeing that take off, see that honor Him first before anything else. And you don't have to hurt yourself. I periodically get things sent to me. I don't know his name. It's he's like this juggalo. He always goes in his backyard and he like jumps off a platform, like front flips onto like fluorescent light bulbs and like cactuses, and like he like always psychs himself up. Is like whoop whoop, and then he's just like screaming. I need to. I can't remember.
I'm not going to do that, Dirk.
Sounds like Steve.
If you're trying to imply that I should do that, I refuse. Dude, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not going to do that, like, at all.
That's
no
hilarious.
way. But yeah, to do that for just views, no way. No, not going to happen.
If this was like the early 2000s, but with modern day internet.
His name is Superhuman with two M's.
Okay.
I don't know what else.
I'm looking him up tonight.
He just destroys himself. I don't know. It's funny, but we're not going to do that.
No, definitely not.
Shout out Superhuman.
Superhuman. I'm going to look him up now, Dirk. Now that you said that.
I know. Everyone's going to pause this and just forget to finish the episode because they're just going to be scrolling through his feed.
I don't endorse him.
Grant's gonna sit there and watch this. It's like, why am I gonna do this?
Well, I think you guys are content creators. We're doing this. We're creating content, right? And I think you can almost be let down. Let's just say the new song didn't perform as well as one of our older songs. Like that's an internal letdown, right? That you're just like, oh, like I wanted that to perform better. And I think you guys could probably say the same about the podcast, right? Where it's just like, we want more views. Like it's the right that just the
like,
pride.
Man, why did no one listen to our Then It Ends interview?
Yeah, why did it only get one stream from Grant? But it's just real, and I think it just goes to show that we're fallen human beings, and we can easily look for our identity in these things, and it's just very easy to do that, especially in the art world. It's just especially so in everything, but it's very easy. I mean, let's just say, KingdomCore's taken away, right? For the Rock's taken away, like tomorrow, like there's an identity piece that goes along with that. And so I'd be lying if I said, no identity is wrapped up into Then It Ends at all. It's like, yeah, there is, there definitely is. Now I can, keep pushing that towards Christ and making His name known and not my own. But that is a battle, and everyone who's listening to this, or the one person that listens to this, is dealing with the same thing.
Back.
Yeah, when you listen, when I listen to it back, I'll be like, oh yeah, I said that and it really hit me. Like, no, it's gonna hit people because we all struggle with something and placing our identity in something outside of Jesus. So it's just real.
And so, kind of moving on to where the band is now, you guys just released a new track, Anxiety, last week. At least at the time of recording this will come out next week. But could you guys just talk about that song, the inspiration behind it, and the message that you guys want to put out there with this new track?
Yeah. So I kind of made a meme video about this. But what's really prevalent in our scene and just our world is just pessimism and being just super pessimistic about everything, being anxious about everything. And like, I know that there's definitely things you can't control when it comes to anxiety. Like I know that for sure. But then there's also the truth as well to who God is, and there's nothing outside of his sovereignty. And like I don't always, so even though I wrote the lyrics to Anxiety, I really I struggle all the time. Not all the time. I don't always struggle with anxiety like at all. Like it's not something that has been in my past. Doesn't mean it won't be in my future, you know. But just I think we all struggle with anxiety to an extent. So don't hear me out on this, right? But I see other people around me that do struggle, and it doesn't always click, and it doesn't always. I can't always empathize with that because I'm just like, well, why are you making a big deal out of this, or why is this such a struggle for you? Because for me, it's not. But I may have my own struggle that brings me anxiety, etc. And so, what I try to do is put myself in people's shoes that I know that are really battling things and the hurts that they go through. And so, it was actually a couple of friends that are severely battling anxiety. And one of them in particular, for 32 years of his life, never battled anxiety. And over the last year has had it just chronically. Right? It's just been chronic in his life. And he's had anxiety attacks and everything. He's like, I have no idea what's going on. And so we had a very long discussion about it. And then a couple other friends was like, hey, have you ever written a song about anxiety? And like, no, I haven't. And I think, as we all know, with everything going on with COVID, with wars and rumors of wars and all these things, like, yeah, like it makes us anxious, you know, and for real, we battle anxiety. And so with every single one of my songs, though, and hopefully you guys have noticed this, is it can start dark, right? But there's always hope. There's always hope. And like, that's how I want to end songs, with hope, right? Because I don't want to just leave people in the darkness. Or in low spots. Like, no, like, guys, like, there is hope. If you're battling anxiety today, like, there is hope. If you're battling depression today, there is hope. But the only thing that I do think makes sense is that hope is solely in a God who loves you, and that's Jesus. Like, that's it. And then just from a logical standpoint, outside of God, I can't rationalize that, right? Of just like, there is no hope. Like, I can't rationalize why there would be a hope without God. You know, and you might as well stay in your anxiety. You might as well stay in your depression. You might as well stay in that stuff if there is no way to get out. But I've kind of battled with this, and maybe you guys can, maybe you see it, maybe you don't. But I'm like, it almost seems like not everyone wants hope. You know, like they would just rather stay in the valley. Like they would just rather. Like, I think. So a lot of the TikToks I see is a lot of great bands musically, but man, their lyrics are so dark and so depressing. And I think our scene in particular, like, actually just likes to stay in that. Like, would rather be filled with wrath or anger, and would rather be filled with these things rather than being like, no, there's actually a way out. And so I think from a broad perspective, I hope that these songs that we write actually resonate with the few and be like, you know what, there is hope through this, you know? And so Anxiety, with every single one of our songs, like, that is the hope and the goal of each song, is to be like, no, there is hope in this, right? There is hope, and that hope is Jesus. I don't always say Jesus in the songs, obviously, but that's, if you're to ask me personally, like, yeah, that's exactly where it's pointing to.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
And So Anxiety was like the first song off of Chasm, which is your guys' new EP. Is there any is it kind of the same plan as Solace where it's one song every month or so? And then
That's the idea.
Yeah.
I don't
Is
know.
it a 5-track song or a 5-track EP this time?
We'll see. We'll see. It's still a question mark right now. And I think there are many people who like don't like this, right? But it's just where the industry's at. It works. Like it works. Like if we were a band that people knew,
just ask Memphis Mayfire.
Seriously, like it does though. Like it does, and that's what Spotify has done. And I think there's different niches, but like I think the metalcore scene in particular, I think we like albums, right? Like I would personally like to listen to an album.
Dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm an album guy. Yeah.
I'm the same way, but at the same time, it's like we would not get pushed out to all these new listeners if we just dropped an album. And so what we did with Restored, right? We dropped the whole album, and it's discouraging because like 2 weeks into it, it's like, oh, sweet, love the album. When's the next thing coming out? It's like, are you serious? Like we just put out 11 songs, and but that's just where our culture is, like the music culture in particular. Like that, yeah, we love to listen to songs, but then because of so much content being created, it's like it just has to have that constant. What's the word I'm looking for? Stimulation.
It's this
right?
culture of instant gratification.
Yes, right. And so it's like, yeah, that's discouraging. So it's like you get a message like that, and guys, we got a few messages like that. Hey, when's the next song coming out? It's like we literally put out an album like 3 weeks ago, and like, but that's just the way that it is. And so it's like, okay, lesson learned. Like, I'm gonna write a song, I'm gonna put it out there. You guys are gonna listen to it, and you're listening to it for a bit, and then another one's gonna come out. And that's just the way it is right now. Now, if we were a large band, it makes sense to put out an album that people are expecting to be put out.
Yep.
But we are not. And that's just the way it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't even if you're not touring to promote an album, then at that point it's like, what's the point? I'm just I'm just hurting myself at this point, because people are not going to remember me. People are going to forget.
Yeah. And once again, it's the message with the content, right? Like it's hey, this is really what it's about. It's about one song at a time, hopefully changing lives. It's not about us signing a record deal. It's not about us touring full time. Like, and when all those factors come into play, then yeah, you would do things a bit differently. Like if we were about to go on tour, it makes sense to drop an EP or an album and stuff like that, but we are not. And so it makes sense then to just keep writing music and impact lives and see where God takes it.
If there is something that you would like to leave the listeners with, what can you tell them to expect with this new EP coming out? For somebody who hasn't listened to Then It Ends and they're going to check you guys out right now after the podcast ends, you're going to go type in Then It Ends. What's a message that you would want them to take away?
Musically or lyrically? Which one? Both.
Need both. Yeah.
Well, the ideas that we're tossing around, there will be heavy, really heavy, and there will be not so heavy. Okay. So from a musical,
you already turned off half our listeners.
I know. Half of them got engaged, and then the other half was like, ugh.
Not like K-pop or anything.
No. We're gonna keep it in the
That's
genre.
the next single.
We're gonna keep it in the genre, right? But I mean, you just find out. I was Sean. I think I was talking to you about this, but like the TikTok world, and this is what's hard as a music writer is like the TikTok world just loves heavy breakdowns, like heavy breakdowns. Almost could care less about a well-written chorus. Yep. It's like, nope, just give me the heaviest of the heaviest breakdown and that's it.
Yep.
And so when I'm just like, I would rather write a catchier chorus than a heavy breakdown, but and
they don't want a song. They just want 30 seconds of breakdown.
Yeah. That's it.
They just want the end of
That's why For Today was so popular.
It's true, yeah.
Dude, just give me the breakdown. So,
How loud can we get this bass?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like
Yep.
just heavy. But my closing remarks from a lyrical standpoint, and this is just in general and not just lyrically, but lyrically, we just want to meet people where they're at, what they're dealing with, and continue to do that. But if I were to leave the listeners, just with everything that you guys are facing and we as in our culture are facing, I just want to give you the encouragement that Jesus is worth it. Like, he's worth it. There is literally no other ideology or anything that even comes close to the gospel. And just think about that as you struggle with things, as you question. And I think you should question. I think you should know exactly why you believe the way that you do. And I could tell you why I'm a Christian. But just know, like Jesus is worth it. Like, he's the reason for everything. And keep going, keep fighting the good fight. And we as Then It Ends will be right there with you doing the same thing. So be encouraged.
Yeah, I'd say similar lines as well. Like, I think out of anything that we produce, it's going to be just out of what we enjoy, not like trying to force something, like, oh, well, we did this the last album, let's try this new thing or try this. Like, unless it's something that is passionate in the moment, we're not going to force some rapid change of style or anything like that. But just whatever the inspiration is in the moment. And I think similarly to like with what you said, Grant, I had recently been reading through Jude, and specifically the book of Jude at the end. Just this is me paraphrasing, but the command is like to keep yourself within the love of God, like his mercy that will be given to you. But then later he says, now to him who is able to keep you. So it's like, do this, like keep yourself in the love of God, but it's God who's the one who's keeping you. Like, outside of just like your experience, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, whether it's whatever it might be, and you feel so weak, feel so unable to even like tie your shoes in the morning, get out of bed, let alone try to figure out what your hope is for the day. That if you just surrender yourself to the Lord, like he will keep you. Like he will keep you from falling. Definitely beyond where you are. Like you think, oh, how could I get lower? Like you can get lower. And if he has you, no one will be able to take you out of his hand. And that's the place of security. And yeah, and if you're his child, like what he says about you, like you're loved, and he's well pleased with you, right? And so those are things that the world won't tell you, and those are things that you won't get from politics or and anything else that you try to find your identity or value in. Like you're not going to hear that. You're just going to hear do better, sacrifice so that you can get a better status, get a better fill in the blank. It's the gospel is something of free grace. It's free life, and it's all free because Jesus paid for it. So that is the best encouragement I can give. I think that's what we're building our music on and our lives on, and so it's our mission.
Dude, that was an encouragement to me, man.
Wow.
That was
Good.
Thank you. No, seriously, thank you. We'll chat more about that later. That was wow.
Dude, that Jude passage is nuts. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. We've been looking forward to having you guys on. Thanks, Dirk, for coming on as well. I know Grant typically handles all the PR stuff, but it was a treat to have you on.
Yeah.
Finally get to meet you. Do you guys have anything you want to plug? new song. You guys got stuff on streaming. You got social medias. You guys have
Grant's
merch?
just like, nah, Jesus. That's what I'm.
Jesus, I'm plugging in Jesus. We do, but it's from one of those ready-made sites, right? Where you order it and they put it together.
Which
so,
also wasn't a thing years ago, which is awesome.
No,
it's like, man,
it is.
You don't
pretty...
have to order 1,000 T-shirts and only sell like 100 of them.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, for where we're at, it's really, really great. If we ever did a show, we would definitely have plenty of merch. So, but that's if we did. Right now, you're just gonna have to go to the website, and it's in our link somewhere. You can find it somewhere.
Just search Then It Ends.
Yeah.
You'll find these guys.
You'll find it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having us on. Greatly appreciated. Love you both.
Yeah.
Keep just real quick in the last minute. You guys keep doing what you're doing. You're having a huge impact, and you're impacting the lives of so many people for the gospel. Okay, and so I know that this is your show, but be encouraged, because you know that there's just through KingdomCore and For the Rock and Then It Ends, like there will be people who will be spending eternity with us because of what God is doing through these ministries. And so be encouraged.
Yep.
Wow,
dude. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for another episode of the KingdomCore podcast. Thank you so much for listening and taking the time to join us here in this community. Thank you to Grant and Dirk from Then It Ends for being an awesome light in our scene, as well as taking the time to come here and talk with us. Go and follow Then It Ends on social media. Go follow their Spotify page, Apple Music. Go check out their music. Give them some streams. I'm sure you will dig it if you enjoy this podcast. If you have any questions about faith or the music, reach out to either Sean or I, but also especially to Grant or Dirk. And these guys really know what they're talking about. And they're so sweet and awesome people. So definitely hit them up if you have any questions or need prayer for anything. Also, be sure to head over to patreon.com/KingdomCore podcast and check out different ways that you can help support us with the podcast. And a special shout out to our core givers, Tiffany Cadenhead, Jonathan Lyman, Aaron Peter, Anthony Kuchma, and the Dead Pedal Coffee Company for being gracious supporters with your finances. Thank you guys so much for your support of the podcast. One final reminder, you guys can go and check out the new EP from Refiner. It's called Firewalker. So stoked to hear your thoughts on it. Also, be sure to leave this podcast a rating, whether you're on Spotify, Apple Music, or any other platforms. If you're on Apple Music, leave a review. We want to start reading them on the show, probably one a week. Let us know what your favorite band is, and we'll mention that in there as well. If you aren't already, you can follow me over at for.the.rock on Instagram, as well as my YouTube channel, youtube.com/fortherock. And you can follow Sean as well on Instagram at kingdom.core. Until next time, God bless, and we will see you soon.